So this last week, I sat down and watched an anime that looked interesting to me when it first came out, but I never really had the chance to watch it until now. This anime is called Shy. It is a superhero anime about a shy girl having to step up into this world of superheroes and do her part to protect the people of the world. The anime was pretty good. I had a really fun time watching it. It wasn't the best, and there was a portion of it that I thought was a little slow and kind of made it miserable to sit through, but it was really only for a couple of episodes and it really wasn't that bad. Shy is structured like a magical girl anime, but not in a bad way. It's definitely not for as young of an audience as Precure or as old of an audience as Madoka Magica, but it has that structure and it works really well in the superhero setting. Shy has a lot of really interesting themes in it that I want to talk about, as well as the characters and their development throughout the show, so let's get onto that and start talking about the themes of this anime. So this series asks a very important question, which is, what does it mean to be a hero? We see examples in this anime of all kinds of different people who have different interpretations of what it means. My favorite contrast is between the superhero Stardust and then Shy herself. They have a small little mini conflict in this series. Stardust is this very pragmatic, realistic guy who understands that you can't always save everyone and that sometimes it is best to just save as many people as possible for the cost of a few. Whereas Shy, being the young girl that she is, has this idealistic look on what heroes should be. She still feels like she has the power to save everyone and that if she doesn't, she is a failure. She is always hard on herself when she feels like she has failed, and it makes for a really good conflict. Shy is very stubborn in her beliefs of trying to save everyone, and it is very noble, and it is what makes her a great hero. But it also puts a lot of pressure on her, and Stardust tries to tell her to be realistic sometimes, even if he is a lot harsher about it than most people would have been. The question of, what does it mean to be a hero, can be interpreted in many different ways. We see that reflected in this story. I love how we see the human side of all the heroes we meet in the story. It lets us see that yes, they are heroes and they will try their best to protect you, but it also shows us that they have their own issues that they have to deal with that have shaped their outlook on life. One thing I really like about this series is that we get to see different sides of people. Every antagonist in this anime is a child, and all of them have been disillusioned with the world in some way. I really like to see how all of the heroes use their own experiences to help against the antagonists. Everybody has struggles in life, and it can cause even children to go down the wrong path, but having the empathy to be able to talk about your problems and to help people resolve them is what makes you a great hero. It isn't necessarily about stopping the bad guys, but also making sure that they can change for the better as well. The struggles we see some of the characters go through in the story are actually pretty insane. It really shows you that even in a time of relative peace, there is still a lot of issues that people go through and they should never be ignored. With this point being made, they really like to emphasize that every life is precious. Shy never treats anybody differently for their circumstances. She always tries to understand everybody and empathize with them. She doesn't just try to take down the bad guys, but she really tries to change the situation and the future. For her, being a hero is about more than just helping people physically. She understands that everybody has their own circumstances that led them to where they are, and she really tries to understand and save everybody, including those people who would do her and others harm. That is one of the best ways that she shows that every life is precious. Shy even changes the view of Stardust. He starts to view life in an entirely different way after meeting Shy. Even he starts to try and save everyone in the same way as Shy, although he is still a little bit more aggressive than her. But this anime does a great job at explaining this point and talking about this theme. One thing I really like about Shy is that it takes the time to go over the backstories of these kids. The antagonists aren't just evil for the sake of being evil. We actually get to see why they think the way they do and what made them side with the bad guys. Every backstory we actually got to see had really tragic stuff involved, even for the heroes as well. Everybody has to deal with struggles, and loneliness is a big struggle a lot of people deal with on a daily basis, and this anime does a great job of handling that topic. Shy is quite literally shy, and so she doesn't really have very many friends until she saves this one girl and then she transfers into her class. They become friends because of circumstances, but it really only takes one person to really help to deal with that loneliness people feel. It can be hard to break free of it, but if you put in the effort, it can be overcome. Grief is a big thing that this story loves to go over. Shy has lost someone important to her, and so has a lot of the other heroes, and some of the antagonists as well. To me, it goes to show that the opening statement of this series about how this is a mostly peaceful time where there are no more wars and things doesn't change the fact that people still die, and that no matter who you are, it affects you, and it really does hurt. Everyone needs that helping hand in those times of need. It's really nice to see this anime tackle this topic maturely, especially for a show that feels like a magical girl anime. I really like the action in this anime. Every one of the heroes has really interesting powers that you don't really see from a lot of heroes normally. Except for Shy, her power is flames, which is a pretty normal power to see. But some of the other characters have interesting powers. We see a power like clouds or foam or something like that, which is pretty cool. That ability is able to be used in both offensive and defensive ways. That is a really unique power that I think is utilized very well in the combat of this anime. There is also this really cool power that puts opponents to sleep upon being hit. It's not the most unique ability, but for a superhero, it's definitely different, and it's really cool. I liked how it wasn't some super overpowered ability either. A lot of the time, the ability only ended up slowing opponents down, which is still useful in its own way. The action involves a lot of talking. If you liked Talk no Jutsu from Naruto, then this is right up your alley. Shai always talks to her opponents and tries to understand them. That is what makes up all the combat, but it's not bad. Her personality dictates that she has to try to help everybody, so she does, and it works really well. The characters in Shai are pretty good. There really isn't a single one that I hate. Some of them are definitely more prominent than others, but overall the characters are still solid. Shai as a main character is cool. In some ways, she has those generic protagonist qualities, like being stubborn in her beliefs and never backing down. But in others, she is actually quite unique. I like the fact that she is a public figure who has a really hard time talking to people. It makes her more human, and it also makes for some really funny moments as well. Papesha, or by her hero name, Spirit, is a really prominent figure in this anime. She is in every arc of the story, and out of all of the heroes, you can tell her and Shai have a very special connection. Her and Shai are very close friends. Spirit and Shai actually call each other by their real names all the time instead of just by their hero names. If they ever have a problem, they go to each other first. Their friendship is super cool. Ekko is Shai's best friend in the story. They met after Shai saved Ekko's life from a broken down roller coaster. She is always the one who is there to encourage Shai and make sure that she understands that she can handle things. She is also very helpful and just really likes to be involved in the scene even if she is just a normal human. She's a fun character who accidentally got involved in a world that she probably never should have been involved in the first place. And the last character I want to talk about is Ai from Season 2. She is this really cool ninja girl who gets involved with the heroes after we learn that her sister has joined up with the enemy. She is actually quite strong, and she is also someone who wants to change how the ninja clans work. She will bring a lot of change into the world, that I know. Shai is a good anime. It was different than what I expected going into it, but I still enjoyed it a lot. There isn't really much else I can say about it. I really liked it, and I do recommend it. Okay, that was the video. If you liked it, maybe think about dropping a like, and subscribing as well. It helps out a ton, and if you do decide to join the community, then I guess I'll see you next week with another video. Bye!
Imagine, if you will, sitting down to your morning coffee, turning on your home computer to read the day's newspaper. Well, it's not as far-fetched as it may seem. In fact, both